$1,000 watch. Of course, watches it's worth $18. It's whatever they want to charge you for the store. That's what the price is.
Right.
It tells the same time as this little watch I got on right now. And you know what? I wouldn't wear this on a field. I wouldn't wear this on a golf course. So we get. Oh man, there's so much going around the league I want to get to. But let's first thank B-52 Burgers and Brew. Find them at b52burgersandbrew.com. They have a location in Lakeville. They also have a location in Inver that is really convenient to the Vikings practice facility, the Vikings museum, or if you just happen to live down in this neck of the woods.
Yeah, I love B-52 Burgers and Brew, our new sponsor and a terrific restaurant, Inver Grove Heights in Lakeville, as you mentioned, Jim, and the Inver Grove location, 5 minutes from Vikings headquarters. And that Inver Grove location is the home of our Monday Night Purple show, live on News Talk 830 WCCO. Our first show was last Monday with Harrison Smith. Great show, talking about the Falcon game and looking ahead to Packer Week. And I'll be co-hosting with Joe Anderson every Monday this year. And looking ahead to next Monday, September 16th, we'll be talking about the Packer game, looking ahead to the Raider game. No Antonio Brown to talk about for that game, but we'll be talking about the Raider game, and we'll have a player guest that will figure out who's coming for that show, but we'll have certainly a premier player from the Vikings every week on the show, and looking forward to visiting with them about what's going on around the league, hot topics in the NFL, get to know the players better. I talked with Harrison about being a pilot this week. It was a lot of fun. And I encourage all Viking fans and all of our listeners to go to B-52 Burgers and Brew in Inver Grove Heights and Lakeville. Terrific menu, 25 varieties of burgers, great entrees and appetizers, and Monday night specials, a fun rooftop patio, and a fantastic Sunday brunch. So check out their website, b52burgersandbrew.com, and hope to see you at our Monday Night Purple shows.
There are a lot of teams that had good first weeks, including the Patriots. Looking at the NFC, and not just the NFC North, the teams that jumped out at me as going, whoa, there might be something there. Eagles, they have the pedigree. Wentz played great on Sunday. Deshaun Jackson gives them the deep threat. They have a great tight end, and Alshon Jeffrey in the passing game. They have a variety of backs, and the defense played well enough in the second half for them to win. They kind of jumped. They intrigue me. And then the Dallas Cowboys. They get the deal done with Ezekiel Elliott. He contributes. Their offensive line looks great. Dak Prescott looks great. They have Amari Cooper now looking great. They have Jason Witten back. The defense is very strong. All of a sudden, those teams really looked like they might have something to me.
Yeah, and I'll start with Dallas and kind of the curious contract of Dak Prescott that he is still unsigned to an extension. And he certainly made a great case for himself, and the price of poker may be going up for Jerry Jones after he throws for over 400 yards and 4 touchdown passes in that win. And so I think the Cowboys were definitely very impressive in their opener, no doubt about that. And they did get Zeke Elliott signed in camp in the house, and so they look very formidable. The Vikings will see them early in the second half of the season. And I think you mentioned the Eagles. Deshaun Jackson, an interesting guy, 32 years old. And wow, the guy just keeps going. 8 catches, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm not sure we saw that one coming. And so that was pretty impressive what went on there. And I'll throw in NFC-wise, obviously the Packers going into Chicago and winning was impressive. But the Rams going into Carolina, that's a tough trip. Go across country.
And so often West Coast, and it's statistically proven, so often West Coast teams play horribly on the East Coast.
That's right, and they get a 30-27 win, and somehow manage to fight back Christian McCaffrey. What a player! 128 yards rushing, 81 yards receiving in that game, and was one of the fantasy football stars of the week.
Yes,
and so very very impressive what went on there, and AFC wise. I thought the one that jumped out at me was the Titans going into Cleveland, all the hype around the Browns, and they just get drilled 43-13.
Yep.
And I love Delaney Walker's comment after the game. Their star tight end caught a couple touchdown passes, and he invoked Denny Green when he said the Browns were who we thought they were.
Oh, man.
That was a great quote.
It was.
And so that was a really impressive performance, as was the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, 5 touchdown passes. We all thought he was a runner. And Marquise Brown, their first-round pick, 147 yards, receiving 2 touchdowns. Mark Ingram, 107 yards on the ground. So not so fast people to jump on the Cleveland bandwagon. Looks like the Ravens may be the team to beat in that AFC North. The Steelers are always going to be there. And I felt going into the season, I wanted to see it from Cleveland before I bought it. Mm-hmm. And Baker Mayfield talks a good game, throws 3 interceptions opening day. Beckham's more worried about his watch that he's wearing. And, yeah, the Browns, not very impressive in that game against Tennessee. On home field, lay an egg in the opener. And so down in Jacksonville, Nick Foles, broken clavicle, and that's going to set the Jaguars back early on. And exciting game, the Saints knocking off the Texans, too, on Monday night. That was a kind of a very thrilling end to that game. So a lot of interesting stuff going around the league this week, and which will lead into a good week, too, and Vikings and Packers, one of the highlight games.
So the Texans-Saints game, highly entertaining. The Saints go up. I mean, the Texans go up on a great throw from Deshaun Watson, and the Saints drive down the field, and everybody in the building knows they're going to try a short pass, call a quick timeout so they can kick the field goal. And Bill O'Brien has like 18 people standing 40 yards away from the line of scrimmage, preventing a long pass that the Saints aren't in any way going to attempt there because they don't have the time. To me, it was just like coaching malpractice. They gave him the short underneath route. They gave him a pass that would make it easy for them to complete it and call the timeout in time, and then Lutz kicks the long field goal. But I just couldn't believe that a veteran NFL coach would just give away that yardage.
Yeah, that was kind of curious how that happened. Although I'm sure O'Brien figured, well, if he's going to try a 58-yard field goal, maybe I'll take my chances. But they're indoors, and he's got a leg. And what a clutch kick that was, and definitely. But that's the only thing you could say is that, yeah, he's going to give him 5-6 yards, whatever he gave him on that catch. But I would still be challenging him somewhat because he's going to try to just get a 10-yard gain or something like that, and not make not going to throw a Hail Mary in that situation. And you got Drew Brees, and he's a smart quarterback, and he knows what to do. And so, yeah, it was a great win for the Saints, definitely. And I'm sure the Vikings always would rather see an NFC team get beat, and it looked like Houston had them on the ropes and had a chance after Watson drove them down, but not to be. And so, yeah, as I said, a lot of exciting games, a lot of big numbers out there, and I think if you're a fantasy football guy, and I even told my son-in-law, watch for Dalvin Cook this year. If he stays healthy, the guy's gonna roll. And sure enough, week 1, he wasn't as big in the passing game as I expect him to be starting this week against Green Bay, but he was certainly running the ball very effectively, and 111 yards rushing in that game was very big. And I was impressed with Alexander Madison, too. I thought he looked good as a second back, 9 carries for 49 yards, and the new zone blocking scheme worked week 1. But I think week 2, the Packers and Mike Pettin are going to try to stop that run first and foremost, which could play right into the Vikings' hands with Thielen and Diggs, who were very quiet, and Cousins very quiet, and Rudolph. And certainly you look at the offense and all the weapons the Vikings have, and Irv Smith Jr., no catches last week. I think this could be his coming out party this week.
Yeah. And as far as Cooks, I talked to a lot of people about him on Sunday. I talked to him as well, and just kept hearing, things that athletes don't always say about other athletes, especially NFL locker rooms. People tend to be pretty reserved. And Thielen and other people are saying, we think he might be the best back in the league. I mean, they just routinely just throw it out there. This guy might be the best back in the league. They are so impressed with him. Of course, the talent, strength, speed, work ethic, toughness, ability to make cuts, ability to read defenses and make big plays. I mean, nobody is putting a limit on what this guy can do.
Yeah, and I felt that way really from OTAs all through minicamp and training camp, that he looked terrific and looked more confident and healthy. And I don't know if he changed something up in his training or whatever to maybe get rid of some of these little pulls and nicks that he's had with the hamstring and so forth. And time will tell if he can stay healthy. And it just reminds me a little bit of Robert Smith early in his career of the Vikings with us, and a lot of big injuries his first couple of years, and wondering, well, can he ever stay healthy? And then sure enough, kind of got over the hump and became a Pro Bowl back and led the NFC in rushing one year, and then he retired. but Robert was kind of like that, not the same kind of back, because Robert was kind of taller and but they were both very fast and very strong runners, and so yeah, Dalvin Cook I think is destined for, as I said, a 2,000-yard combined rushing receiving season. Again, stay healthy, that's the key for him. And with Madison in there, if they can kind of spell Cook and give him a break and not wear him out, I think that's positive too. And maybe even Mike Boone. I thought Boone might get some snaps with that big lead against the Falcons this week. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But I love what I've seen from Dalvin Cook so far.
One more topic that we're going to give our pick for the week. Do want to thank, again, Bite Squad, bitesquad.com, promo code TalkNorth, gets your first delivery fee waived. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, late night, home, office, anywhere else. Talk North promo code. Thanks to Bite Squad for their support. Where did you come down on playing players when the game was already won? Because it's really easy for me or somebody else in the press box to say, hey, get that guy out of there. You're winning by 28 points or whatever. And yet you see Belichick, you see great coaches all around the league play. I mean, Belichick hardly ever pulls Tom Brady off the field, no matter what the score, even if they're up by 40. So did you ever encourage your coaches, hey, if we got a lead, get this guy off the field, or did you just let him go?
Yeah, I really thought it was up to them, that they had the pulse of the team, and maybe it's a situation in week one, for example, where the players haven't played a full game all year, and maybe they want to get them acclimated to that, because it's probably going to be the case in Green Bay this week. So perhaps, and also the Vikings defense was pitching a shutout, and so I think Coach Zim kind of likes that, and although I'm sure he didn't like some things in the game, such as the 11 penalties for 100 yards and the 2 late garbage time touchdowns, but at that point they're playing prevent defense and all that, and so I think that's part of the early in the season. They want to get these guys used to playing a full game and get them out there. But a guy like Dalvin Cook, there's no need in risking him in the fourth quarter, and he really wasn't out there in the fourth quarter after halfway through it, which is good. And so that's the only thing I can think of, is that perhaps just get them out there and give them an opportunity to do that. And so I think that one of the things that we didn't talk about in talking about guys who have had some injury problems and was Xavier Rhodes, for example, and who had an excellent game against Julio Jones, came out with an injury at one point. Impressed me that he went back in and fought through it and played and had that big game and held Julio when he was in the game with only 4 catches, and Julio had a couple more late in the game when Xavier wasn't on him anymore. And so I think that's a good sign for the Vikings going into Green Bay and facing Devontae Adams this week, that Rhodes is going to be playing with confidence after doing well against Julio. And of course, we know it all starts up front, and that Viking pass rush was very much effective. And then you go on the road, and you don't have the home crowd. You don't have the disruption for the offensive tackles. It'll be a little tougher this week to rush the passer. They're playing on grass. But Everson Griffin looked really good. Danielle Hunter, sensational. Weatherly had some pressures. Linval Joseph had a sack. A lot of good stuff going on. Mataafa put pressure on that led to Joseph's sack. So a lot of good stuff going on with that defensive line. And Anthony Barr, we've talked about this all off-season with that $13.5 million contract. He needs to make more big plays, have more opportunities. Well, Zimmer gave him more opportunities, starting with the first play of the game. And it looks like he's going to have a lot of chances to rush the passer this year. And that is really important for this team. He's got to make those big plays.
Let's do our picks. Thanks again to White Bear Lake Superstore. Find all their stuff at whitebearlakesuperstore.com, or just drop by the showroom. B-52 Burgers and Brew in Lakeville and in Inver Grove Heights, and bitesquad.com. Talk North is the promo code. I'll go first. I think we both picked the Vikings to win last week. I thought it was going to be a little more of an offensive show. You had, I think, mid-20s score. This week, I hate picking both teams in the 20s. Like, that's the classic NFL pick. It's like 24-21. But that's what it feels like to me. I think this is going to be close. I think the Vikings are the better team right now. I think that Cousins is going to have a pretty good day. I also think the fact that the Packers don't have a lot of experience